Undiagnosed, well, I've been advocating for undiagnosed to be a diagnosis until further notice, because there's a lot of organizations that won't even allow you to apply for help for things unless you have a diagnosis. So I advocate for that, and we're making a lot of headway on that. We just announced today here at the conference that NORD and RUN are partnering for an Undiagnosed Alliance, and so we're hoping to get work on that and help actually decide how do you become undiagnosed. If a pediatrician says it and 2 specialists, that should be good enough and put in that category until further notice. Insurance companies have a hard time with that label, and so just a lot of things that need to change for the community.
So what do you think is
I have aggressive, progressive, degenerative arthritis, especially in my distal joints, and heat and cold intolerance, high blood pressure. I have different blood results that come back that you can't put into a box or a usual diagnosis, and things that they haven't seen before but they don't have an answer for. For me, it's living in the unknown. I mean, I don't know if I have a year or I'm going to live my whole life in pain. So, and I have 3 kids that are undiagnosed and live in pain every day. And I think the hardest part was that doctors did believe me that there was something wrong with my oldest daughter. And she screamed like a wild animal for months, and they kept sending us home and saying no need for further testing until she started to go blind, and I had a spinal pressure at 50, which normally is 18. So I would have lost her if I didn't stand up to be that crazy mom that I was in the ER. So she's now okay. She had 4 brain surgeries, 4 cranial surgeries, and is shunt dependent now. But then other things started happening, redness and on her hands and everything. And then I looked at my son, and that was happening too. And then I noticed it in my daughter. So we were all diagnosed at the Mayo Clinic with autonomic neuropathy, an unknown version of a genetic dysfunction. So it's been a long journey. We did sequencing, so we started with exome sequencing, and we had it analyzed 5 times, and nothing came out of that. That was a legitimate, disease. And then we went to whole genome sequencing, so we had that done at the Utah Genome Project, and we're waiting for those results. And then we applied to the UDN, the Undiagnosed Disease Network, and we're going there in December. And so we're hoping, I called them out in my speech today, that I'm hoping that they'll have the answer for us. But we were the first family accepted into the UDN, so it's a lot of pressure on them to have 4 of us. So I'm actually launching a new platform called runmydna.com for that sole purpose of connecting everybody and bringing them together. So instead of just going into Google and Googling, which all moms do, we took from Google all the rare stuff and trying to put it into one platform for doctors and physicians, and for doctors, not just doctors, sorry, for doctors, patients, families, geneticists, researchers, and even us, the insurance people, to come in, just trying to get everybody to talk. That's been my dream. I started RUN just because I wanted to build a network, and why can't everybody talk to each other and getting different doctors? Because we've been to 7 hospitals in 4 states and hundreds of specialists, and they don't really talk to each other. It's exhausting.